minutes and the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from the July 10th meeting.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded, we adopt the minutes from July, what was it again?
10.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Doris will be in here. Well, she said she'll be here first.
First thing,
She has her lactation policy. Don't giggle when she comes in.
Great.
shall we recess until
She'll
she
be
does?
able.
All right, let's recess.
We just transferred the data, but we don't have our software program. Still doesn't really do what we'd like it to do. But this actually kind of tells the tape on kind of what's going on with our EMS side of our operation. The total responses, of course, we don't determine those, but it's a good thing to keep an eye on to see if they correlate with our billing collections, and also just to see what our trend is doing. So our responses, will vary somewhat, as you see in like January, February, it was double, more than double our response numbers. And then just to see what our transports are, also because if we don't transport, there's not much of a fee. We charge a small little $50 fee, and that's if the patient generated the run. If they didn't generate the run and somebody else called it in, we don't penalize it with a response fee. So that's that there. The amount billed, as you see right there, and then the amount sent to ARSI, which is the new collections agency that we're using. But the fluctuation that you see over on the far right column with collections, primarily that in February and March, that was because Medicare was going through, they had some what do you call it? Revalidation. And they were bouncing back and forth. First of all, they take 30 days to even examine it and decide whether you got it all right or not. And they were bouncing back and forth, sending us requesting additional data. So that's why we had down months for those two, and then we had a bounce back up in the following two. And Misty said for July we're sitting about mid-month and we're right around 9,000. So that'll probably level out and will be somewhat in the middle there. The $72,000 at midpoint is actually just a little bit above what we usually, we're right around 125,000 for the year. So we're on a pretty good pace. The one thing that we don't, and it'd be kind of nice to do, but I don't know that it would require a fair amount of manual tracking, but it'd be interesting to know how many uninsured we're meeting. Because we're meeting more, I know we are. And just insurance is so darn expensive for everybody. Fewer people are carrying it. And so, but it would be interesting to know what that is.
If you take your total collections and the amount sent to ARSI, it doesn't quite equal the amount billed. Is that money that you're just waiting on that you think will be paid, but this hasn't been paid yet?
Yeah, I don't believe
The money is either billed out rate on insurance to pay, or it's a self-pay account, and the people are paying on it.
Okay.
We had one payment the month of February from Medicare before we got cut off. And then Medicare, when I went back through for April, we got hit with Medicare payments and May Medicare payments. So they were catching up, pretty much what they were doing. Certainly level up.
And Medicaid is about the same. They're about as difficult to deal with. And that is the majority of our patients in Medicare. So we see that fair. The only other thing I wanted to kind of bring you up to speed on is that 5-ton that we, first one that we got. Unfortunately, we're dealing with some problems engine-wise with that truck. And lesson learned, if you get one of those trucks, you probably ought to drive it around before you fix it up. Drive it around a fair amount. Because it was the least used truck. But talking to Jerry, that's not always good. It probably sat here on the dock instead of here on the dock, and even though it had hardly any miles on it, that actually wasn't all that great a deal. And I wish we would have drove it around for a bit before we did all the work on it, because we have an engine problem of some kind, and we're trying to figure out what it is, but we have so much work in that, and time, money, and invest in it that we need to. If we'd have discovered it before we did all that work, we'd have sent it back, because that was the one we received. We didn't buy. But now we've got it so much invested in it that we really need to fix it. So before we do anything, I'll let you know what the prognosis is.
So the good deal isn't a good deal.
Yeah, well, I think it was still a good deal, but we just didn't realize that just because it's an unused, pristine vehicle doesn't make it a great running vehicle just because of that. And we should have drove it around for a while. But they want you to get them things, and that's a requirement that you get it fixed with and changed over and painted in a certain amount of time. But it's like I was telling Nick before I left the office this morning. He said, I guess you just ought to just drive it around back and forth and drop off things and just drive the darn thing as much as you can, as many places as you can, just to make sure that you're not going to have any engine difficulty before you start painting and fixing the darn thing up.
Was it missing or using oil?
No, it's getting antifreeze down in the wall, so it's got a piston ring or something. Yeah. Yeah, we'll let you know when it's good news and bad news is.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Morning.
Hey, Doris, you have some paperwork to do?
Now you guys are getting waiting breathlessly.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the lactation policy for Stafford County. And we are applying for a grant to furnish the room $2,000, but we can't finish the grant until you adopt this policy. And then this is, I didn't know if you guys wanted to do that. Or put it in your policy. It's a cookie cutter policy.
No.
All I did was put it on it. So every county has the same policy with a different name.
Make a motion to accept this policy
And adopt it into your county manual.
and adopt it into our county.
Thank you.
manual.
That takes care of it.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We adopt this. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. It is adopted.
As soon as we get the money, we'll start on it. Well, she'll clean the room first.
How much money did you say?
2,000. Carpets, furniture, fan,
Decorations,
whatever.
milk cow decorations,
Huh?
milk cow decorations. Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't know. No bottles though. Can't display any bottles.
Oh, no bottles?
No baby bottles.
Really?
Can't even do that to help. It's not allowed.
Those stickers are in there on my desk and hold envelope.
What am I supposed to do? Oh, what's the ring decals?
I had nothing to do
The ring
with it.
decals? Alright. I'm done.
Very good.
I saw Fran and Jack over the weekend.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, she's still skinning. Blown away.
Yeah. Gotta carry a rock in her back pocket.
Couple. Do you need anything else?
I think so.
Alright,
Do we
thank
need to
you.
do anything with that, the last one you gave us?
That's just for your information. You can read it, or I don't know if you want to keep it or not. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
It's on your desk, Nita?
Yeah, in that basket there, in a gold envelope.
Just initial and date, is it?
Yeah, that's fine. Just
Unless you have anything. All right, we'll recess.
No, that's fine. I was early.
You
Yeah,
were,
you
you still are.
I still am. I'll get 2 more minutes.
So what'd you find out?
Well, Martin County's already got it, so that won't be a problem. Pratt County doesn't have it yet, but they're working on getting it. Kiowa County's not gonna get it, not this year. He didn't budget for it, and he said that he wasn't gonna mess with it this year.
What's it cost?
That I don't know yet. I haven't heard from Randy on the cost. London State Hospital has capabilities for like Karen treatments we could do. And I talked to Judge Walters and she's all for it. And she says that they do it in Martin County. But she said they have a room up there that she has to go to or whatever. She would prefer that there'd be a monitor or a TV screen, whatever, on the wall up in the courtroom, so she could still be at her bench. And I figured that wouldn't be a problem. But I need to get back with Randy because I haven't heard a price unless you have.
Well, he just briefly talked to us last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks
Right.
$1,500, $1,800, $2,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't think it'd be much bad at all.
Is there any other counties that would go in with us and utilize that? Rush is one we heard.
But they
We
put
don't-
one in.
We don't deal with Rush County.
They what?
Rush.
Well, he's being shared, like if Rush County has people in Martin County,
For Kiowa County?
we all go together, but, set up Martin County's jail to
Yeah.
go to each one of our courthouses.
I can talk to him. I doubt if they'd be interested.
But if Martin County's already set up,
Yeah.
Kiowa County sounds like the one we need to be.
but I don't know what all counties utilize the County County jail.
Does
I
Rush
can
County?
find out. I'm sure, well, I know Edwards County does when they're full, so does Tony County. I can talk to him and see.
It might be, we might ought to set them up if we get 2 or 3, 4 counties to go together and set it up for them. Might save us money.
It's gonna save money.
Yeah.
So you said Kiowa County hasn't done, they're not gonna do anything this year
Right.
or next year?
Yeah.
In Pratt?
Well, they're not gonna, he's already done his budget
For
for
14,
next year,
okay.
so it'll be 15 before they do it. But I don't, like I said, I don't know what it'll cost yet. I wouldn't think it's gonna cost a whole lot.
Randy didn't seem to think so. A couple
Yeah.
of laptop computers, the way he talked, and a couple of webcams.
Yeah, then like with Barton, we wouldn't have to. And when I talked to Pratt County Sheriff, I got to thinking about, if they're gonna charge us extra to do that. And he said, well, no, he said, it doesn't matter if we get them out and get them ready for you to take, or if we just get them out and put them in front of the camera. He said, no different. So he
What
said,
all phases of that process will be able to be videoed, all of it?
I talked to Judge Walters briefly about that, and she said she would prefer, like the first appearances are fine, but anything beyond that, they need to be here. And she also said she wasn't, how'd she put it? I don't think she was comfortable with doing juveniles over the, and see Bob Johnson set up for it, we could, but she didn't, I don't think she felt comfortable doing that, which I understand that, that's a kind of touchy deal, but like Karen treatments out of learning, we do those a lot, that save us money.
Would we have to pay them in, do you have to sit there and make the prisoner behave and sit there, would we have to pay them to do that?
I haven't talked to Barton County Sheriff, I'm sure he won't either, but like Pratt, and they're in the process of doing it, he said,
No
no,
extra
no
charge.
problem.
think the main thing would be ahead of time, just getting the camera set up, making sure it's working and communicating
Right.
with that's gonna be, and then if you run into problems, what do?
We'll have to do
And then that might delay it, but anyway.
But, well, actually, they'll probably just continue it to another day if there's a problem. Yeah. But I mean, that's stuff I'd have to iron out with the judge, and I did talk to Joe to make sure he wouldn't, and
Well, I'll say,
he said he'd already talked to you guys, so. But I'll
And
find
I
out.
think the whole thing was on the first appearance.
Right.
From that point on, I think that we have to haul them in before they have to. But at least with first appearance, I think it would save us, some money.
I do too. Well, Randy will be here today, so I'll visit with him.
Because it seemed like he said the biggest expense would be the laptop, because the cameras are a couple $100. What he was thinking, he hadn't done any research on it, but he was off the top of his head.
Yeah, because he said the one on the laptop wasn't good enough quality, but it had to be a little better quality, external camera. For the job.
Yeah. Well, and that's something, I mean, like, obviously, Martin County, we don't need two, we just need one here. They'll have,
Yeah.
and Pratt County will have one. I'm just wondering if it would, depending on what it costs, even if we don't share it with Edwards or Pawnee, if it's not that expensive, just buy one and put it in Kiowa County.
Yeah.
Oh, right now, I think we have 4. But, see, the Kiowa County is the place we send them if they're gonna be in 6 months or longer, because it's cheap.
If other counties start doing, I mean, you would think they'd be interested in saving money too, though.
It'd be interesting to know how many other counties keep store prisoners at each one of those places. You know, like in Martin County, how many other counties
Well, and then I would assume,
utilize that facility, or even Kiowa County, or even Pratt County.
Would
for
Kiowa
that.
County be open to the idea of doing this down there?
oh yeah,
If
yeah, I
somebody
talked,
else,
yeah, the sheriff was, he just said he'd never,
I'll find out.
Didn't budget
What do
for
you
it.
think it costs?
Okay. okay.
I think Rush said they used Martin County, or Randy said.
They do some, what happens is,
Well, Randy set up Rush County to do this.
Right.
right,
Yeah.
and just like Kiowa County, they'll take, if they got an opening, they'll take them from anywhere. But what happens is, like, sometimes Ford County gets full, well, they'll take some to Kiowa County. Same thing with Edwards County, and even Pratt County will take them if they're full. Because the jails around here aren't huge. I mean, they can only hold so many people. So it's hard to actually say how many. I know Comanche County, when they get full, they go to Kiowa County.
How much do you have a ballpark figure on what we spend on first appearance travel expenses right now?
Figure it, but I know it just in my head. I mean, that's. And see, that depends. It's just like 2 weeks ago. We had, and I may be wrong about the numbers here, but I know I had one officer going to Pratt. We had a female that Wichita picked up for us that they wanted out. So we had to go get her. And on the same day, we had to get 2 at Great Bend. Well, the ones at Pratt and Great Bend were like a half hour apart. So I've got 2 officers going there, one going to Wichita, and I'm here by myself to do everything else. And at one point, I thought there was going to be a guy up in court that needed arrested. And I was thinking, holy cow, I'm just going to sit here with him till someone gets back? But it didn't happen. But I mean, you just never know. Just like that Wichita deal, that wasn't on the schedule. I mean, they just picked her up. You know? That's overtime because Bill was off.
No, that's okay. I just figured somebody didn't. Will they use district court Wi-Fi? Because they won't go in on ours
Yeah, the
that
way
we
we
have
talked, they
here.
would have their own
They
Wi-Fi.
have
Security,
their own
yeah,
security.
they'd have
Okay.
security.
And when they
Yeah.
weren't using it, it'd be off.
No, it won't.
Because I don't want to get
No,
more
no.
users on ours with the 3M, with the driver's license.
It won't.
Movers. Okay.
They would have to have their own.
That, with that live streaming, I wonder if that'll mean another fiber optic line.
The way Randy talked, he didn't think so, because
He
he
didn't think
said
so.
he could tie right into what they have now.
What the heck?
Or that's what he said last week, but I don't know that he was just thinking through the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
I don't know that he knew exactly.
Oh, yeah, he knows what they have,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I think we need to pursue this further.
Yeah.
Just- and if we're looking at a couple of $100 for a camera for Kyle, I didn't see any problem with that.
Well, even
I think
for another $800 for, even if it's $1,000 total for a laptop, camera, both. I mean, as many trips as you make for the guy.
Yeah, I'll talk to Sheriff Wilson again and see if he'll do it. I mean, even if it's free to him,
Right.
because of manpower, I'm sure he will. Maybe talk him into splitting the top.
So you got your new truck?
Yeah, yesterday, 7 months late. But it's here. They started taking the stuff off of the old one last night.
How long does it take to switch that over?
Oh, usually a couple days. Hopefully,
Lights and radio?
yeah, they're all, I mean, I'd hate to try to wire one of those.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare.
Does it have a taser recharger?
Nope. Don't have one in.
Plug-in cigarette lighter?
That's an add-on.
That's extra, yeah.
Right. You say Randy's here today?
It should be sometime. See if it's here.
Yeah. See if he's here, see if he's got any figures. But I would think in 2 trips, you'd almost pay for a camera.
No, it's good.
No.
Oh, my.
Recess and you're staying in.
No, we're recessed.
I just copied the certificate page for you. And this has the NRP built into it, transfers. This is what Adams Brown recommends for our final budget. Some of the changes that we made, we increased the health insurance from $625,000 to $687,500 to allow for a cushion. We increased the capers. We always run close on the capers withholdings. We increased it from 145 to 152 because there is supposed to be a rate increase. We increased law enforcement, the prisoner expense. She was able to increase that up to $215,000, which was what his expenses were for 12, so that should cover that. I think that was it. We had to increase Doris's, the health department fund to get her ad valorem tax up to where it needs to be so she can keep getting her grants, because it has to remain at a certain level. So that was increased, some, she doesn't have to know how much, but we had to do that one. But it came out overall just 60.565 mils, which last year was 60.279, so it's, I mean, and she's built transfers in, I copied the transfers, it's on the last page. Which, she's got those budgeted in too, so.
There's no way to get back to what last year's was.
The 60.279?
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose she could. You got some of those reserves, I suppose. And this is just an estimated tax rate.
Right.
This isn't the final
Right.
valuation, so it could go up or down either way. Usually it doesn't fluctuate much.
So there's an increase of 0.286 mils.
What's that gonna leave our reserves that were,
Well, if I know that in those transfers, it should go to the reserve. We haven't budgeted for transfers for a long time. She sent a copy of her budget without the transfers and the NRP in there, and it came out 56.363.
What's the NRP costing? Because they just add that back into the budget, right?
It's considered an expense.
Yeah. That's probably 2 or 3 meals, isn't
Pretty
it?
good chunk,
I
yeah.
was gonna say, it might be 3 or 4 meals by now. I know my last second half NRP distribution was 133,000, but I don't remember what it was in January of my rebates that I gave. That's all right, I was just curious.
I know there's a separate page for it, somehow, I think it's 28 pages to go through.
So,
Yeah. If you want to look at the whole budget, I have it here. Oh, here it is. study this? Or you wanna go with
Just
it, we
take
can
our time.
approve it, we can go, yeah, if we wait another week, we'll have to move the hearing back to the 14th. Because we have to publish 10 days before the hearing.
I'd rather wait